Howdy, I'm Bob Terry, and thanks for joining us for a fantastic episode of the Western television show Stories of the Century, starring Jim Davis as Railroad Detective Matt Clark and Mary Castle as Railroad Detective Frankie Adams. And it's all brought to you free here on the internet by westernsontheweb.com. Come on by and see us on westernsontheweb.com for hundreds of free Western television shows and movies, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, Westerns on the Web. And we're getting our Facebook page started, so come on by and visit us on Facebook, Westerns on the Web on Facebook. Now here comes Stories of the Century. We'll see you after the show.
The official newspaper files of the early West record many stories of famous and notorious characters of that period. Doc Holliday, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of the 80s, born in Valdosta, Georgia, of a fine Southern family. Though a well-bred and well-educated dentist, he was forced to move west because of ill health and became a fatalistic, ruthless, and deadly killer.
Out of sight until we get a race out of him.
Hey, Tim. Looks like they want to have a race. Open up that throttle and I'll fire it up a bit.
Are you sure there's $80,000 coming through on that train?
As sure as we're sitting here, Doc, it's a special to Dodge City.
Picking up speed. All right, go ahead and take a shot. They're getting near the curve. They'll never make the curve. I went through the mail car, there was nothing. Nothing. I thought you said there was $80,000 coming through.
I can't understand it, Doc. Billy said he saw the money put on the train at Pavo.
You know what this means? Every marshal, deputy, railroad detective in the territory is going to be on our necks. All for nothing.
But, Doc, Billy said...
Oh, shut up. Let's get back to horses and separate. I'm going to go back to town, and you better dig the biggest hole in Arizona and lay low.
Come on, Ed.
When I was told that one of our crack trains to Dodge City had been wrecked and one of the trainmen was still alive, I was on my way. Frankie Adams, my associate, was already on the scene of the crime. My name is Matt Clark, railroad detective.
Hi, Sheriff. Hi, Matt.
Hello, Frankie.
He's been shot. He's the only survivor.
Shot?
Yes, he's one of the train crew.
Is it all right to talk to him?
Oh, yes.
Do you know who shot you?
Outlaws. Stagecoach.
Did you recognize any of them?
No. Heard one called Doc. Doc said he was going back to town.
Doc. That's a strange name for an outlaw. Who are the medical men in these parts?
Well, outside of Dr. Williams here, there's the veterinary, Dr. Hayes, and a dentist by the name of Dr. John H. Holliday.
Well, we can eliminate this doctor. The trainman would have recognized him before he died. At least 2 possible suspects. It's a stab in the dark, but... Frankie, you may not know it, but you got a toothache and I got a sick horse. I'll see the vet and you see Doc Holliday. Let's go.
Well, let's take a look at that tooth. Which one's bothering you?
The one in the back on the left side.
Open your mouth. Well, I don't see a cavity. I'll put a little medicine on it. That ought to ease the pain. How long you been in town?
Just passing through. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to take that train that was wrecked. Terrible thing, wasn't it?
Certainly was. When did you hear about it?
I read it in the local paper. Both the engineer and the fireman were killed. Ghastly thing. Poor families.
I can't understand who would deliberately shoot them down in cold blood. Yeah, that ought to do it.
How much do I owe you?
No charge for a little thing like that, miss. I don't think you'll have any more trouble with that tooth. But if you do, come back and see me tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And Sheriff, he said that all the train crew were shot.
But nobody knows that except us and the outlaws who shot them. Everybody else in town thinks they were killed in the train wreck. I've been asking a lot of questions around town, and everybody calls him Doc. Do you know anything about him, Sheriff?
Oh, not much more than you do. He has a reputation for being a gunfighter. Just started practicing dentistry here a few months ago. Says he came out for his health.
He must have something to do with that wreck.
I'm positive of it.
Well, Doc Holliday may be our suspect number 1. We can't do anything about it unless we get proof. But I sure would like to know where he was during that wreck.
So would I. The trouble is we have no eyewitnesses left that can identify him. They're all dead.
Frankie, you have an appointment with Doc Holliday tomorrow morning, don't you?
Well, he told me to come back if the tooth was bothering me.
Well, you may not know it, but it's bothering you. And you're going to keep that appointment with him tomorrow morning.
But I forgot which one it was.
Your left wisdom tooth.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
See you later, Sheriff.
What are you doing in town? I thought I told you to get out of here and lay low and break up the gang.
Doc, I got the right information this time. That gold's coming through the day after tomorrow.
I don't care when it's coming through. Ever since that wreck, this town's been swarming with lawmen. They're suspicious.
You're not turning yellow, Doc.
Clanton, nobody calls me yellow.
I know you can outdraw me, Doc, but someday I'll catch you on even terms.
Your even terms is with that dirty, lousy gang of yours behind you. We're waiting behind a rock. Now get out of here. Go and hide in that closet.
I didn't like Frankie going up to Doc Holliday's office alone, but there was no getting around it. However, I meant to follow her as soon as possible and be at the door if anything went wrong.
Oh, hello. I'm terribly busy. Could you come back a little later?
Well, I don't know. My tooth is awfully sore.
Say 10 o'clock. Miss, I'm sorry, what is your name?
Adams.
Miss Adams. 10 o'clock then?
Fine.
Miss Adams? Oh, Miss Adams. You want to come on back? I find I do have time to take you. Want to sit down over there?
Thank you.
Open.
Oh!
I think I'd better pull that tooth just to make sure.
No,
Well, that's all right, Miss Adams. We can replace it if you're going to be in town that long.
But I'm not. I'm leaving tomorrow.
What train are you taking?
I'll be on the stage. I'm not taking a chance on a train.
Oh, yes, the wreck. The one you read about in the local paper.
That's right.
You know, a funny thing, Miss Adams. When we were talking yesterday, you said you read about the wreck in the paper.
That's right.
You didn't read it in the paper. This is the first paper printed since the wreck. There's no mention of the disaster in last week's edition.
I probably overheard it in the store.
I don't believe you. What's wrong with your teeth? Now, what did you come here for? Take a look at this, Doc. A railroad pass. You work for the railroad.
The way she's been pumping you, she's probably a detective.
How much do you know? Come on, start talking.
Let me take her to the hideout. I'll make her talk.
Just hold on to her. I think I can make her talk right here. You see these, Miss Adams? I'm gonna pull your teeth one by one until you start talking.
Keep your hands off of her.
Yeah?
I need your help.
What's the matter, Matt?
I'll tell you later. Bring your deputies and come on.
Hey, Frank. You too. Come on.
What was the idea of you running out on me?
What did you want me to do? I couldn't kill this detective right in town.
What are you going to do with her?
Billy! Take this gal outside. Doc and I want to talk. We're going to pull this robbery whether you like it or not. They'll pin it on us if we don't kill the gal.
I don't mind having a reputation as a gunfighter, but I've never been mixed up in a cold-blooded murder. Every man I've ever killed, I've given a chance to go for his gun. And you're gonna let that girl go.
If we do, she'll be running to the nearest lawman. That would be Wyatt Earp. And tell everything. I made a mistake throwing in with you.
You pull that trigger, Wyatt will hunt you and your whole dirty gang down and kill you.
It's going to come to a showdown with the Earps anyway. And it might as well start with you. Billy! Take the gal outside.
You saved my life, Miss Adams. I don't know for how long.
Break it down!
Got to track Holiday down. He's the only one knows where they took Frankie.
Did you get a good look at the man that grabbed Frankie?
Well, not too good, but he's ugly and got a big lantern jaw.
That could be Ike Clanton. Wyatt Earp was in town inquiring about him.
Is Holiday still a good friend of Earp's?
As far as I know, he still is.
I think I'll go to Tombstone and see Earp. He might know where Holiday hangs out.
Well, he won't believe it when you tell him that Doc Holliday's working with Clanton. They're bitter enemies.
Well, I'll see you, Sheriff. If anything turns up here, I'll be in Tombstone.
Give Wyatt my regards. We'll keep our eye open for Holiday.
Right.
Sorry, Miss Adams. This night air isn't doing me any good.
You want to ride a while?
Getting too dark to follow the trail anymore. It must be a coyote. Holiday's making a beeline straight to Tombstone. Call it a search. We're going to Tombstone. We'll get Corral. Tell the rest of the boys.
Are you tired?
No more than you are.
I've got to go to Tombstone and warn Wyatt that Ike's out to kill him in the morning.
Earp's a good friend of yours, isn't he?
Best.
That's funny. A wanted gunfighter and a famous marshal like Wyatt Earp should be so friendly.
Saved his life once. A drunken cowboy tried to shoot him in the back.
You know you're suspected of wrecking a train. Your friend will probably put you in jail.
They can't prove anything. Besides, Miss Adams, I'm sort of a fatalist. I take the cards the way they're dealt. Wyatt's got to be warned. Bye, Miss Adams.
Are you leaving me?
I'm sorry the horse can carry the two of us.
But I don't know where I am.
If the Clantons don't get me, I'll come back for you.
Howdy, stranger. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for Wyatt Earp.
Well, you found him.
I'm trailing Doc Holliday. I understand you're a friend of his.
Yeah, I am. Sit down.
Much obliged.
What kind of a scrape is Doc in this time?
He's wanted for questioning regarding the train wreck, and I'm filing a kidnap charge against him.
Doc wouldn't kidnap anybody.
We think Ike Clanton took Frankie Adams, another railroad detective. Doc might know where they've taken her. He was working with the Clantons.
Doc Holliday working with the Clantons?
You're under arrest, Holliday. Where's Frankie Adams?
Take it easy, take it easy. I left her just outside of town. Wyatt, you old son of a gun, you... Well, don't seem too glad to see me, Wyatt.
I'm not. This man's a detective. And you're suspect number one in an attempted robbery. What's this I hear of you working with the Clantons?
You know better than that, don't you, Wyatt?
Lock him up till we bring the Clantons in.
Your gun, Doc. Over there. Hate to do this.
Well, I guess I'm just as safe here as I would be on the outside. Ike Clanton's been trailing me. He and his whole gang are just outside of town at the OK Corral, looking for trouble. They're coming to get both of us, Wyatt.
So they're in town for a showdown.
I'd like to go with you.
Give him back his gun. We'll need all the help we can get.
I'll get my brothers. You go to the saloon and deputize some of those cowboys. Come on, Doc. Virgil, it's Ike Clanton, OK Corral. Morgan, it's Ike Clanton.
Claiborne, you got here just in time. Wyatt Earp and Holliday are at the marshal's office together. We're going to get them.
Get off the street. You're under arrest, Clanton.
By the time we arrived with help, the battle was over. Tom McLaury dead, Frank McLaury dead, Billy Clanton dead. The rest of the gang wounded and unable to continue. This was the end of the most famous feud in Western history. The fight at the OK Corral between the Clantons and the Earps.
I'm going to take him to a doctor. Can you hold off filing charges until we can get him back on his feet?
Well, sure. I'm putting him in your custody.
Thanks. You'll find your partner 10 miles out on the North Trail.
Thanks, Doc. I'll go get her.
Come on, Doc. Come on.
Frankie, this telegram just came in. Thought you might be interested. April the 18th, 1885. Dr. John H. Holliday died last night of tuberculosis in the Glenwood Springs Sanitarium, Colorado. His condition was complicated by his recent severe gun wounds. Signed, Dr. H.L. Peterson, physician in charge. Well, that's that. I guess that closed the files on Doc Holliday. You know, Frankie, he had every opportunity when he started out. Good family, good education, a good personality. But instead of taking advantage of those good qualities, he fell by the wayside.
I imagine he'll go down in history as one of the West's most notorious gunmen.
Oh, by the way, the boss wants to see us.
About a new assignment?
Seems we were both late to work this morning. Let's go.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Stories of the Century, starring Jim Davis and Mary Castle, and hope you'll come on by westernsontheweb.com and see hundreds of free television shows and Western movies, and there's interviews with some of your favorite Western stars. Come on by and see us, www.westernsontheweb.com. I'm Bob Terry, and we hope to see you again on Down the Trail. Have a great day. Howdy, I'm Bob Terry, and thanks for joining us for a fantastic episode of the Western television show Stories of the Century, starring Jim Davis as Railroad Detective Matt Clark and Mary Castle as Railroad Detective Frankie Adams. And it's all brought to you free here on the internet by westernsontheweb.com. Come on by and see us on westernsontheweb.com for hundreds of free Western television shows and movies, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, Westerns on the Web. And we're getting our Facebook page started, so come on by and visit us on Facebook, Westerns on the Web on Facebook. Now here comes Stories of the Century. We'll see you after the show.
The official newspaper files of the early West record many stories of famous and notorious characters of that period. Among them, Frank and Jesse James, trained in the bloodthirsty school of border warfare, they rode roughshod from 1866 to 1882 through 4 states of the Middle West to become the most widely known bank and train robbers in the annals of American crime. On a cold night, January the 5th, 1875, a group of detectives acting on a tip-off that the James boys were in the old homestead in Jackson County, Missouri, silently surrounded the farmhouse of Dr. Samuels. In order to light up the house from inside, so as to make targets of the inmates, the men tossed in a metal bomb-type flare. Jesse's mother, trying to snuff out the bomb, pushed a kerosene-loaded object into the fireplace.
It's unbelievable, Jess. Unbelievable. To think that there are men in this world who throw bombs at innocent people, at a kind, gentle woman. at a harmless little boy of 10. Just think of it, Jess. Little brother Archie dead.
I am thinking of it, Frank. I'll be thinking of it for a long time.
We were there night before last. Never saw the family looking better.
Detectives.
Cowardly Yankee mercenaries. That's all detectives are, Jesse. For a few paltry dollars, they'd bomb their own mothers. I declare war on them. Here and now, war to the finish. By heaven, we'll make ghosts out of every one of them that comes our way.
I'll need money for the burying. There's a stage coming up from Hot Springs.
Wouldn't be carrying more than 500 or 600.
It's carrying a detective.
Who told you?
Cole Younger sent word that a young stranger was asking a lot of questions and heading this way. He said he smelled like a detective to stay out of town.
If we rode hard, we could just catch that stage.
This'll be for Ma. Poor little Archie.
I'm Matt Clark, railroad detective. The young lady across the way is Frankie Adams, my partner on this case. As far as anybody else is concerned, we're strangers, strictly on our own as we move into Clay County, the stronghold of Frank and Jesse James. Frank and I were only part of a network closing in slowly but surely on the James gang.
Forget the registered mail. Anything you'd rather keep for yourself, Grandpappy, put it right here in the bank where she'll be safe and sound.
As one Southerner to another, sir, I find your conduct outrageous.
Why, 1,000 pardons, Colonel. I should have known you were a Southerner. You may keep the watch as a souvenir of this occasion.
Well, then you must be Jesse James.
Maybe so, Colonel. But you better not say that again until I'm 20 miles away. How do you do, miss? What brings you to our fair state of Missouri?
Well, I've just been made new postmistress at Kearney.
Looks like people around here are going to have pretty good reason for answering their mail.
I haven't got much money, but...
Well, that's all right. Keep it. And get back in the coach where you'll be more comfortable.
Thank you.
Everything, mister, right into the strong box. What's your name?
Matt Lassiter.
Frank, have we any relations named Lassiter?
No. That's a good old Southern name, but he's not one of us. He talks like a treacherous Yankee.
Fred, you're right. Happened to be born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I hear tell that's a real live steamboat town. What are you doing way out here?
Buying cattle.
I know where you can pick up some mighty fine Jersey beef steers.
I'd have to be awful drunk to buy jerseys for meat. Either somebody's pulling your leg, mister, or you're pulling mine.
What might your business be, young fella?
I'm a horse trader from Alabama.
Alabama? Did you fight in the war?
Sure did, sir.
Name your rank, regiment, and commanding officer.
I was a private soldier. My regiment was the 22nd Field Artillery. My commanding officer's name
No
was...
such regiment, boy. You're lying.
This must be that Yankee detective we heard about.
Must be. Let's see what you got in your pockets.
Until he was shot, I didn't know another detective had been traveling with me. His tragic mistake was my salvation. Kearney was the county seat, not much bigger than a one-horse town, but lively for its size. Frankie had taken her job in the post office, which turned out to be little more than a booth at the local grocery store. Her orders were simple enough. She was to be on the lookout for letters bearing any one of the many aliases used by the James boys and their gang. I took a room as close to the post office as I could find, still playing out the role of cattle buyer.
May I have a stamp for this, please?
That'll be 5 cents.
You're new here, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I don't mean to appear bold, but it does seem like we've met before.
Well, we might have. I've met quite a few people in the last few weeks, although I don't remember you.
And that's the trouble when a man's business keeps him on the road. Doesn't give him much of a chance to make friends.
That depends upon how fast you travel. What's your business, if I may be so bold?
Bank examiner. Next time I'm passing through, I'll mail another letter. Day, miss.
Anything in general delivery for Lassiter?
Matt. That man that just left. That's Jesse James.
By the time I got a horse in the livery stable, he'd be long gone. What makes you so sure it was Jesse?
Those blinking eyes. That's the man that held up the stage. How could I ever forget them?
What'd he come in for?
To mail this?
Mr. Chadwell Pierce, General Delivery, Kansas City. Open it up.
This paper is all the mail there is for you, Mr. Lassiter. If you'll excuse me, I think I'll shake up the stove a little. It's getting chilly in here. Dear sir, my brother and I will be visiting our sister in Kansas City at the end of the week. If your cousins have their wagons, we can head west to make our fortunes. Give my regards to the cousins. Yours truly, Mr. Johnson. What do you make of it?
Nothing much.
What are we going to do about it?
We're going to go to Kansas City and deliver this in person to Mr. Chadwell Pierce. Who knows? Might be our chance to walk Frank and Jesse right into a trap. Good day, miss.
Good day, Mr. Lassiter.
It was simple enough to get Frankie placed in the Kansas City post office handling general deliveries. I hung around in the back room with employees. We got no action till the end of the week. Then on the 18th of February...
Got anything in general delivery for Pierce?
Pierce?
Yeah, Chadwell Pierce.
There's one letter for you, sir.
Thanks. See you later, Frankie. What we'd been waiting for. It was our hope he'd lead us to the Kansas City hideout of the James gang. Make sure I'm not followed. About now, I was beginning to feel pretty good, feeling that at last we were getting somewhere after all our painstaking work.
You know, Jess, I didn't know this whistle stop had a bank.
Well, forget it. We're not interested in banks this trip. We've got just a half an hour before train time, and we're going to need a real good excuse to keep the sheriff away from us. There comes just what we're looking for. Some real important gentlefolk. Come on. Be nice and quiet, Uncle, and you'll stay alive to tell your kinfolk all about it. Beg your pardon, ladies. My friends and I are going to keep company with you for about half an hour. But if you make any trouble, you're liable to get those feathers shot right off your hats. Head for the railroad tracks. Get us there safe and sound, and we're liable to do the same for you. Chad, tell the sheriff if he gets curious, there's liable to be 3 less people in Waterville. Okay, Jed. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Hurry up, boys. She'll be here in a couple minutes.
The folks around here will talk about this day for years to come.
Yeah. They'll even make it bigger than it is. They'll say it was the day Jesse and his gang kidnapped the whole town of Waterville and then held it hostage while they robbed the 845.
And with a hotel full of detectives in Kansas City.
Keep an eye on the citizens. Joe, you take care of the engineer. Ed, bring up the wagon. The rest of you boys take care of the passengers. Let's make it quick. Bring up that wagon! Come on! Let's go. Come on, give us a hand with this safe.
Back in Kansas City, I alerted the authorities on Jesse's being in the vicinity. We no sooner got word of the robbery than the wires started humming. I was part of a large posse that searched for 2 days. We'd begun to think that Jesse had gone to Earth like so many times in the past when suddenly, on the morning of the 3rd day, the group I was with had a lucky break. We came suddenly on a train of freight wagons. We were about to ride on around when it occurred to me that Jesse had used a wagon in the robbery and had also mentioned wagons in his letter. Give me those binoculars. There was Jesse himself riding alongside one of the wagons. I was sure of it.
Jesse needs me, man. Let's go get him.
the safe. Open it up. From then on, Jesse was doomed. Sooner or later, one of the raw recruits he was always picking up would turn on him for that $10,000 reward. Which is, of course, what finally happened. One evening in January 1882, I was in the office of the Kansas City Chief of Police on a matter that had nothing to do with Jesse James.
You Mr. Robert Ford?
Bob Ford.
What's so important it couldn't wait till morning?
I hear tell there's a $10,000 reward out for Jesse James, dead or alive.
That's right. What makes a young fellow like you think he can earn it?
Ever hear tell of Charlie Ford?
Can't say that I have.
He's my brother. He's one of Jesse's gang. He's with Jesse right now.
Then, what kind of help do you want from us?
Me and my brother want to do it legal. You deputize me and I'll do the rest.
Sit down, son, sit down. Then, you have ideas of getting in with the gang.
That's right. Charlie's been bragging me up. Jesse's getting kind of desperate for men.
What do you think?
Well, he's taking all the risk. What do you got to lose?
Take this young man out and have him deputized.
Thank you, Captain.
Frankie Adams and I happened to be in St. Joe, Missouri in the spring of 1882. We didn't know it until later, but Jesse James and his family were there too, living under an assumed name in a little rented house up at Lafayette and 13th Street. It was a Monday morning, the 3rd of April. Jesse and Charlie Ford had been out back in the stables grooming and feeding the saddle horses. Charlie had stopped in the kitchen to talk to his brother Bob. It was an unusually warm day for April, so Jesse opened the door to the street and took off his coat. Then, feeling that his guns might arouse suspicion in anyone passing outside, he took them off too. The guns were both businesslike .45s, one a Colt, the other a Smith & Wesson. Unknown to Jesse, Bob Ford was watching him closely. Had been watching him for days now, waiting for a chance to catch Jesse unarmed. This began to look like the moment he was waiting for, so he alerted his brother Charlie.
Hot day. Yeah, isn't it? Great racehorse, that Skyrocket. Yeah. Kind of dusty, though.
Jesse turned his back. It was his last mistake. Jesse James died as violently as he had lived. The two Ford brothers ran to the nearest telegraph office and notified the authorities that Jesse James was dead. Word spread rapidly. The morbidly curious began coming from all directions. Because we were in town at the time, Frankie and I were called in to help with the identification. For only a few detectives had ever seen Jesse face to face and lived to tell about it. Well, Frankie, I guess we can close the files on the James gang.
Don't be too sure about that. His brother's still around.
I wouldn't worry about Frank. He hasn't ridden with Jesse for a long time. It's only his loyalty to Jesse that's kept him from coming out of hiding. I'll make you a bet he turned himself in before 6 months.
I'll have you know, sir, I never make bets.
Unless it's a sure thing.
you enjoyed this episode of Stories of the Century, starring Jim Davis and Mary Castle, and it's brought to you free by Wild West Toys. Please come by and shop with us at toyguntown.com, and hope you'll come on by westernsontheweb.com and see hundreds of free television shows and Western movies, and there's interviews with some of your favorite Western stars. Come on by and see us, www.westernsontheweb.com. I'm Bob Terry, and we hope to see you again on Down the Trail. Have a great day. Here comes Stories of the Century, starring Jim Davis and Mary Castle, and it's brought to you free here on the internet by Wild West Toys. I'm Bob Terry, and we'll see you after the show.
Newspaper files of the early West record many stories of famous and notorious characters of that period. Among them, the Apaches on the southwest frontier in the 1880s, the most ferocious Indian warriors in North America. And of all their noted war chiefs, none was more feared by white soldiers and settlers alike than the fierce and cunning Geronimo. We heard that a posse had caught an Apache who was being held prisoner at Fort Simon. I was bringing down the watchman who was shot the week before. If he could identify the Indian, we would bring him to the territorial seat to stand trial for robberies and murders recently committed along the railroad. I'm Matt Clark, railroad detective. We wanted to let Geronimo know that the citizens of the territory, as well as the Army, were out to stop him. Howdy, Colonel.
Oh, Matt Clark, I've been expecting you.
This is Joe Burns, depot watchman.
Clark, supposing you can identify the Indian who raided the station, what do you intend to gain by taking him back?
He'll get a fair trial, and if he's guilty, he'll hang. Maybe then Geronimo and his cutthroats will think twice before coming too close to the towns and railroads.
In other words, you're going to succeed where the Army failed.
I'm sorry, Colonel. I didn't mean to draw that inference. You're doing the best you can. But if we can help you along now and then, I'm sure you're not going to turn us down.
Only a fool would insult his allies, Mr. Clark. Bring him in.
Stand over there.
He's one of the Indians the posse brought in. Recognize him?
Yeah. He's one of the no-good Indians that raided the station.
What'd he say, Colonel?
He says he should have made sure of the watchman and killed him. You're a tough one. Who are you?
Yo soy Nechi. Hijo de Cachis. Jefe Dollar, Cito de Geronimo.
Looks like you caught yourself a big fish here, Mr. Clark. He says he's Nietzsche, son of Cochise. He says he's one of Geronimo's war chiefs. And the Geronimo will come and rescue him.
That's pretty big talk, Colonel. You know Indians better than I do. Do you believe him?
Well, that's hard to say. But my only advice is you better not try taking him back alone.
You'll give me an escort, then?
I can't spare the men. My troopers are all out on patrol. But I think there's a wagon train coming through in the morning. I'll send a scout out to check for you.
Wagon train? That's too slow, Colonel.
Mr. Clark, anywhere you look out there is Geronimo country. You don't know it, but you're lucky you ever got through to here. You'll either take him back by the wagon train or you don't take him back at all.
All right, Colonel, you win.
Lieutenant, take your prisoner out and lock him up again.
Yes. Indians. Why don't they give you enough troops to wipe all the Indians out? String every one of them up.
The government tries to be fair. Unless the Apaches are on the warpath or caught in some specific crimes, they've got as much right to live as you and I. See you in the morning, Colonel.
Good night.
Morning, Colonel.
Morning, Matt. You ready to move out?
Yeah, if you say so.
One of my scouts reported the wagon train about 5 miles out. They're going to bypass the fort. I'll give you an escort as far as the wagons. From there, you're on your own.
Would that happen to be the one coming in from Santa Fe?
That's right.
Good. I've got a friend coming in at that outfit. Another railroad detective, Frankie Adams.
Here comes your prisoner.
Well, goodbye, Colonel.
Good luck, Matt.
Thanks.
Bye, Colonel. All right, open the gate.
Towards sundown that evening, we sighted the wagon train coming in from Santa Fe. We joined them.
Well, it's as far as you go, soldier. Thanks a lot.
Howdy, miss. How about a cup of coffee for a tired old cowboy?
Sure thing. God, it's awful hot, though. Matt!
Ouch!
Oh, I'm awful sorry. But that's what you get for sneaking up on me like an Indian. What are you doing out here, anyway?
I'm taking an Apache backstand trial.
I should have known.
You mean you thought I came all the way through Geronimo country alone just to meet you?
It's been done.
I know that, but not this time.
What's all this I hear about Geronimo's band and this Apache prisoner? I thought you were in Tucson to appear against those 2 train robbers we caught last month.
That's why the boss sent for you.
I wondered why he took me off of that case.
I got a new job. I'm supposed to stop the Apache raids on our depot and way stations.
1 man against Geronimo's whole tribe?
What's wrong with that? There's only one tribe, isn't there?
I wouldn't worry about the Apaches hitting this train, Matt. We're not carrying anything they want. Besides, we're well armed.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Better check my prisoner before I turn in. Good night, Frankie.
Good night. Oh, Matt, what do you want for breakfast?
Bacon and eggs over easy. That's sunup. Night.
Good night.
Oh.
What is it, Matt? Apaches. Indians. You sure you aren't seeing things?
What about that? Take a look at that.
That shot woke up the camp. What do we tell him?
Tell him to go back to bed.
Wasn't nothing, folks. One of our boys just had a nightmare. Going back to bed.
These chains been nearly cut in 2.
The nerve of those cutthroats, coming right up on a wagon train like this.
We better stand watch the rest of the night. I'll take the first hitch.
Right. You know, I was kind of figuring Geronimo wouldn't attack this train. No, I'm not so sure.
Everybody was nervous and up at daybreak. I made sure that our prisoner was still secure, then went over to see Frankie. Frankie, I thought I'd better come over and hitch up the horses for you.
Thanks, Matt. I'll take care of the rest of these.
Well, I guess I won't see you until after we reach Tucson tonight.
I guess not. Looks like we're gonna have a busy day.
I'm talking!
Get under cover, Frankie.
Here, Matt, I brought you some shells.
Thought I told you to stay under cover.
That's just where I am.
Here, reload this. don't think so. How many men we lose?
Not many. Frankie's been hit.
What?
We did it, Matt. We beat them off.
Not so sure they got what they came after. Give me your knife, Joe. Here, bite out on this real hard. That air's got to come out. A souvenir for you, Frankie. All right, hold on real tight now. Bandage.
What do you mean they got what they came for? The prisoner?
Yeah. There's no need of my riding to Tucson tonight. I'm going back to the fort and take you to a doctor.
I'll be all right, Matt. It's not that bad.
I know you can, Frankie. But the colonel sent out troopers looking for Geronimo. And that red killer's right here under his nose. That means the fort is unguarded. Nietzsche will tell Geronimo all about it. Somebody's got to warn him. You think you're strong enough to ride?
Let's go.
Guard, take this girl to the infirmary. She's been hurt. I'll be down to see you as soon as I talk to the colonel.
All right, Matt.
Sorry to break in like this, Colonel.
Mr. Clark.
The wagon train was attacked this morning at dawn, and I lost Nietzsche.
The wagon train attacked?
That's right, and it could have been Geronimo.
Geronimo? Why, that's impossible. The last I heard...
I guess he moves pretty fast, Colonel. Right now, he's less than 10 miles away from here. I'm no military man, sir, but if I were you, I'd get those troopers back here just as fast as I can.
Well, they're due back today or tomorrow. But look here, Clark, you're not implying that this fort's in any danger, are you?
I am.
Ah, that's ridiculous. A handful of Indians? Why, a fort hasn't been attacked since Carrington was struck by the Sioux a few years ago.
I know that, Colonel. But Geronimo got the prisoner I was taking to Tucson. No doubt Nietzsche told him that the fort was poorly guarded and unarmed. And Geronimo's got well over 100 men.
Look here, Clark. I've been soldiering a good many years, and if you think you're going to panic me into... Apache! What's this about Indians, Gatewood?
That's right, sir. The scout came in with a report. I checked it myself. They're gathering just beyond the ridge. Must be over 100 of them. Maybe all they want to do is talk, sir.
No, we can't take any chances. Issue guns and 60 rounds of ammunition to every man in the fort, soldier and civilian. I'll direct the defense personally. Come along. Man your post.
Horsemen, all right. Must be a lot of them, judging from the dust.
Apache!
It's Geronimo! It's Geronimo! Lieutenant Gatewood.
Yes?
Take charge of the north end of the fort. Hold your fire, they'll get them in range.
Yes, sir.
You better go with the women and children.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking!
It's your troopers.
Hold your fire! Maybe we'd have held them off that day, maybe not. But I'll always be grateful the troopers turned up when they did. The fight was furious while it lasted, but it was over in a matter of minutes. Geronimo fell back in disorder, and retreat turned into panic.
What you say is true, Lieutenant Gatewood. Our reports are that Geronimo did lose a lot of men. His band was hurt and hurt bad.
Well, Colonel, Geronimo staked everything on trying to take this fort, and he was whipped. He's been campaigning steadily for months, and he's tired and depressed. I tell you, sir, you'll never have a better chance.
He's been defying the Army for 10 years, and today you seem to think he's ready to talk terms.
I think so. I was in charge of the San Simon Reservation when Geronimo and his people were there. I know him, sir. I know him better than I know you. He'll trust me.
That may be, Lieutenant. But can we trust him?
Why not? The Army has nothing to lose. Except my life, maybe, in case I'm wrong.
He'll go alone?
Alone as a soldier. I'll need a guide, a courier, and a packer. And a couple of Indian scouts to send on ahead to let Geronimo know I come in peace.
He's convinced me, sir. I'll have to go along as a courier.
All right, Lieutenant Gatewood. If I can clear this with General Miles, you've got yourself an assignment that I'd hesitate to take myself. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
We moved south through Apache country for 2 weeks. Then one day near the end of August 1886, south of the border near Fronteras, one of our scouts made contact with Geronimo's tribe. After a jittery trip, we were led to Geronimo's camp. Looking around, we knew that we were at the bandits' mercy.
It's many months since you left the reservation, Geronimo. It's good to see you again.
Scout tell me you come to talk peace, Gatewood.
That's right. General Miles wants to make peace. General Miles does not want to kill any more of your people. He says he is your friend.
If General Miles is my friend, where has he been all these years? I have been very much in need of friend.
You know what's best for your people, Geronimo. Otherwise, you wouldn't have let us come to talk with you today. What are your conditions?
Geronimo, like all his people, is brother of Grizzly Bear, Rattlesnake, the Eagle. The land around us is big and belongs to all of us. It is big enough for all things that live except the white man. For the white man, even the whole earth is not big enough.
He went on like that for the rest of the afternoon.
If General Miles makes solemn promise, Geronimo will go.
Near sundown, Geronimo had weakened and agreed to surrender to General Miles. And with that agreement, we knew that the 10-year war with the feared Apache in the Southwest was over. Geronimo no longer would ride and kill as he pleased. From now on, he would be the guest of the United States government.
Matt, you can tell your boss the railroads and ranches will be safe from now on. Word just came from General Miles that Geronimo and his band are on their way to a reservation in Florida.
Well, it's been good working with you, Colonel. Hope to see you again someday.
Thank you.
Bye, Colonel.
Bye.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma, March 6, 1909. Geronimo, one-time scourge of the southwestern frontier, died here today of pneumonia at the age of 75. Geronimo, the Apache firebrand, extinguished forever.
Enjoyed this episode of Stories of the Century, brought to you free here on the internet by Wild West Toys. You can shop at Wild West Toys at www.toyguntown.com. Thanks again. Hope you'll watch some more of our videos, and I hope we'll see you on down the trail at our shopping site, at our internet site, and we just appreciate you. Thanks again. Have a great day.